Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just be real for a second and start with a quick question. You got a raise last year, right? I mean, maybe it wasn't some massive windfall, but it happened. Your paycheck actually went up. And you probably thought to yourself, okay, awesome. This year is going to be different. I'm finally going to start saving, and I'm going to stop feeling so broke all the time. And then, well, absolutely nothing changed. You're still opening your bank app and kind of wincing before buying groceries. You're still treating those last 3 days before payday like some sort of extreme survival challenge, basically debating if ketchup counts as a vegetable. Look, if that sounds familiar, I need you to know you are absolutely not alone.
Okay, let's dive into this because this is the fundamental question we are answering today. Why are you still broke? I want you to hear this loud and clear right out of the gate. You are not inherently bad with money. Feeling stuck like this, it's not some individual moral failure on your part. The reality is you are operating inside a system that is fundamentally broken. It's designed to keep you on a treadmill. So today, we're going to break down exactly why that is and, way more importantly, how you can finally, permanently escape it.
To get you out of this cycle, we've got a really clear roadmap. We're going to start by diagnosing this paycheck-to-paycheck crisis, uncover the invisible traps keeping you stuck, look at the alarming retirement savings gap, lay out a super practical escape plan, and finally, finish with the wealth mindset shift required to actually keep you wealthy. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The paycheck-to-paycheck crisis. Honestly, it's a national emergency.
I want to show you some hard data from 2026 to prove that what you're feeling right now is actually a widespread systemic emergency. 51% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck today. Think about that. That is literally half the country. And just to be absolutely clear here, we are not talking about people who are unemployed. We are talking about working professionals, adults with steady jobs, good salaries, people who show up to work every single day, and they still absolutely cannot get ahead.
And you know, the stress of this is just weighing incredibly heavily on the nation. The National Endowment for Financial Education recorded that an astounding 88% of Americans started 2026 with some form of financial stress. 88%. They actually stated that this is among the highest levels they have ever recorded in their entire history of tracking this data. You can literally feel the tension out there.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this truly concerning finding from the Gallup organization. A record 55% of Americans report that their financial situation is actively getting worse. Not just staying the same, getting worse. This matches levels we literally haven't seen since the Great Recession. So if you've been feeling like you're running on a treadmill that's going absolutely nowhere, take a deep breath. It is a national crisis and it's affecting people at almost every single income level.
Section 2. The invisible financial traps. Let's look at what's actually keeping you stuck.
So data only tells us there's a problem, right? It doesn't tell us why. There are basically 3 major psychological traps keeping people permanently stuck. Trap number 1 is lifestyle inflation. This is the invisible thief. When you get a raise, your spending almost automatically goes up to match it. You know, you upgrade to a slightly nicer apartment, or maybe suddenly regular drip coffee just isn't good enough anymore, and you need that artisanal cold brew. And none of these feel like huge reckless decisions at the time. You worked hard, you earned it. But the brutal truth is, if your expenses rise by the exact same amount as your income, you will never ever build wealth. It literally doesn't matter if you make $100,000 a year. If you upgrade your lifestyle every time, you're just building yourself a more expensive cage.
Trap number 2 is the gap between perception and reality. Studies show that when you ask people to guess their monthly spending, they underestimate it by 20 to 40%. If you think you spend $2,000, reality dictates you're probably spending closer to $2,800. And why is that? Because modern spending is designed to be completely invisible. It's auto-renewing subscriptions you forgot about, food delivery apps, one-click purchases. When you don't track this stuff, you are flying totally blind. And that invisible gap? That is exactly where all your savings disappear.
Top number 3 is emotional spending. In a 2026 Credit Karma study, 28% of Americans cited emotional impulse purchases as a top financial regret. Think about it. We spend when we're stressed, bored, or anxious, mostly just to feel in control for a second. And guess what? Corporate marketing is incredibly sophisticated. They know this. It is entirely engineered to trigger this exact emotional spending before your logical brain can even catch up. If you don't have a plan in place, you are going to lose to this manipulation every single time.
Section 3. The retirement savings gap. Let's look at the slow-motion damage this is causing.
We need to escalate the stakes for a second here, because this daily cycle is causing devastating damage to your future. Right now, exactly 62% of Americans, a really solid majority, are walking around with this underlying gnawing fear of not having enough money for retirement. And the harsh reality? They are absolutely right to be worried.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why that fear is justified. Just look at the catastrophic gap here between the average American's retirement savings, which is less than $65,000, and the $1 million or more that financial planners generally recommend to retire comfortably. When you're spending everything you make just to survive today, retirement savings is the very first thing that gets cut, right? Because, well, the rent and the groceries are due right now. But delaying those investments has a massive, massive cost. Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. By putting off saving just to get by today, you aren't just missing out on putting a little cash away, you are completely disconnecting yourself from the single most powerful force in personal finance, compound growth. But here's the good news. Even small amounts, if you invest them consistently, can completely change this equation for you.
Section 4. Your practical escape plan. Time to move from the problem directly to the cure. All right, enough about the problem. We are shifting directly to how we fix this. Here is your highly practical, logical 3-step escape plan that you can honestly start this exact week to break the cycle once and for all. Step 1 is 60-day awareness. Step 2 is a zero-based budget. And step 3 is building a $1,000 buffer. Let's break these down.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because step 1 is all about pure awareness. I want you to pull up your last 60 days of bank and credit card statements and just group everything into categories. When you see the actual hard numbers on paper, not what you assume you spent, but the cold, hard reality, something literally shifts in your brain. As the saying goes, you cannot fix what you cannot see. And hey, this isn't about shame or making you feel bad. It's purely about gaining the information you absolutely need to take back control.
Step 2 is implementing a zero-based budget. This sounds complicated, but it just means taking your monthly income after taxes and assigning every single dollar a specific job before the month even begins. Income minus expenses must equal exactly 0. Now, that doesn't mean you go out and spend it all. It just means you account for it all. And the absolute most vital part of this whole step, pay yourself first. Automate money directly into your savings and investments before you even have the chance to spend it on anything else.
Step 3 is establishing your buffer. Look, the real reason people stay trapped is that when life inevitably happens, a random car repair, a weird medical bill, they have to go into debt to pay for it, which just creates this vicious cycle. Your very first goal is to build a $1,000 emergency fund. This is your critical firewall. It stops an unexpected life event from becoming crippling credit card debt. Once you hit that 1,000, then you scale it up to 1 to 3 months and eventually 3 to 6 months of expenses.
Section 5. The wealth mindset shift. Let's talk about the paradigm shift needed to make this permanent.
We've gone over the math and the practical steps, right? But to make this stick permanently, you need a fundamental paradigm shift. So, the crucial point is, stop thinking about money as something you spend and start thinking about it as something you build with. Every dollar you invest is not a dollar you are depriving yourself of today. It's a dollar you are literally sending into the future to work for you 24/7 while you sleep. You aren't doing this to be cheap. You are doing this to buy back your own time.
I want to end this explainer with a direct challenge to you. Will you open your bank app right now? Just look at your last 30 days of spending. That is step 1. Awareness is where your total transformation begins. And hey, if this explainer gave you a bit of a wake-up call, please share it. Half the country is stuck in this trap, and the more people who understand how this system actually works, the more people we can help escape it. Ultimately, it all comes down to this. Are you going to keep merely surviving until your next paycheck, or are you ready to start building something that actually outlasts you?